Hello, this is a demo of how Tetration can help protect containers, or in this specifically Kubernetes, in our install here. So you can see here in our display page that we have a bunch of containers all running. There's a front end, there's a orders containers, the payment containers, so I have a bunch of them running. And if we look into one of the containers, specifically, you can see that there's a Tetration agent policy. Basically, it's to allow TCP all. So it's wide open. There's really no security policy in force. It's just wide open. Now let's go into Tetration. How can Tetration get access or visibility of Kubernetes? You can see here we go into the external orchestration tool where we can configure credentials to connect to Kubernetes. Right? And there are additional options that you can choose to other systems. So here's for us, we're going to choose Kubernetes. And then after we choose Kubernetes, we'll just simply input the credentials, the information that needed, certificates, etc., to connect to the Kubernetes system, so we can inherit the device attributes or the container attributes into our Tetration instance for policy creation. And you can see here's an example of a successful connection to Kubernetes. And now let's go into the Tetration workspace. So we have a workspace called SOC Shop, and we drill into it. And there you can see a whole list of all the policies per import from the Kubernetes cluster there. And we can see here's a visual representation of the traffic flow going from front-end server to a back-end server to payment server. So it's represented by different colors. And if I point at different colors, it's basically telling us what is the traffic flow being permitted or being assigned by pulled down by the Kubernetes policy itself. All right, this is all downloaded from the Kubernetes master node here by Tetration. And then after this, we can see that this is the overall policy that is downloaded. So it's a table list of all the permits, ports, protocols that it should be used to have this policy, have this cluster working as advertised per design. And you can see there's front end, user pods talking to database pods. There's front-end pods talking to other pods like carts, etc. So there's just different variations of the communications that is supposed to happen because these multi-tier application needs to work. Okay, so now let's spin up a whole new separate container called BusyBox. And as we spin up this BusyBox, this is sort of a simulation of somebody else spinning up another container in the work environment, and they're simply doing testing, and there's no policy in force, so it's a wide open network. So now this container or rogue container could be stealing traffic or having a connection that it's not supposed to. So we can see here now this BusyBox container just popped up. It can reach these other containers, this other front-end container that we're looking at. So, and that's fine, right? Because right now it's an open policy, right? So it's pretty much a flat network there. So we can see the pings are going. So what we're going to do next is say, well, we need to stop this from happening, prevent rogue devices from connecting. So now we'll go back into the Tetration page and enforce the policy, right? And these are the policies that's created, downloaded by the Kubernetes master node, saying, hey, only these applications should talk to each other. So I'm going to go hit the enforce policies button and deploy the latest version, of course, hit accept and enforce. And now the policy has been configured and enforced. And we can see that pings actually now have stopped. You can see the sequence number 128, 129, 130 is the last entry there. So the pings have stopped, okay, because the policy is kicked into place. And you can see here earlier, there's only 2 rules that says allow TCP all. Now there's a bunch of more rules in the IP tables of that container. We can see that it's blocking or permitting traffic from communicating. And now if we jumped into the actual applications, that's what we're interested in. These applications, it's a 3-tier application. It's still working because that's what the Kubernetes policy mandated, that these applications need to talk to each other through certain protocols, while everything else outside the policy gets stopped. All right, thanks for watching.